I've got too much estrogen, which evidently makes you hateful and bitter and angry. And so I sweat all night, just like I've done jazzercise in the bed all night. And I wake up, I've got sweat right here in the back of my head. My head just looks like fuzz in the back. And my husband, okay, so I put it on 67, and he says, I can see my breath, and that's a lie. But he's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage, and we've got 2 Beagle hounds that we're in love with because his children are gone. And so we've got a big one, and he takes the big Beagle and spoons the big Beagle at night. And I've got the little Beagle, the little pocket Beagle that we rescued, and she's got a nervous tick and eats our furniture and our fabric like a goat. But anyway, they sleep in the bed with us, and the bed is so nasty. Okay, so the little Beagle, so he's spooning the big one. The little Beagle backs her little butthole up to my head and sleeps up against me all night. I love her. And in the morning, I can hear my husband when he gets up, he's kissing that big Beagle and he's going, and I'm so thankful. The only thing about having them in the bed, really, is I tried those eyelash extensions. I paid a lot of money for those, but Beagle hair would end up in them, and it itched real bad, so I had to let them fall out. But anyway, he came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie, and we were kissing. I said, oh, that's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You've got your arm around somebody, and then you've got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building. and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. I'm tickled to death to be here in Austin. It's one of my favorite places. Kumbaya. Kumbaya. Got all my young, hip people over here. Feel good. Not dragged down by a bunch of kids. Look, woo! She feels good. Date night, fun. Oh, y'all. Some of y'all are looking at me like, we've been stuck in the house all week in that ice. And now we bought tickets to Hee-Haw. Yep, you did. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, but I feel very connected to Texas people because I lived in San Antonio for 3 years, and about 3 years ago, and Davy Crockett, I have to mention that every time because of Davy Crockett, the Tennessee Volunteers, all those boys, we saved y'all. Hot flash, you are too, you angel. Do you have sweat going down your crack? You do? Yeah, I do too. I do too. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah. I'd hate to have to get out here and date. Let me tell you that, honey. Because there's an odor. All my children are yummy, and I'm in love with them, and I love my girls, and I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because he is now since married and gone off with his wife and her people. And that's what boys do. They cling to their wife. That's biblical. He said to me, Mom, she is now my immediate family. You are my extended. That's what he said to me right before they got married. And he said, Mom, that's biblical. I'm supposed to cling to my wife. And I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Well, he has always been spiritually mature. We call him our little Billy Graham. My husband and I, we didn't do it. God did it. I'm full of sin. Okay. I've been washed in the blood, but I've been a horrible, horrible person. Not too bad, but okay. So this baby has been just like an old man all of his life. Let me give you an example. He had a little girlfriend in high school, and he would go over to her house and they'd watch movies. And he came home one night and he used to tell me everything. And I said, what y'all been doing? He said, well, we've been watching television and kissing on the couch. And I said, okay, baby, okay. That's all right. That's normal. But I said, before you know it, you've got your hand on somebody's leg, your arm around, and things can get out of control. And I just say, slow it down. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship on a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now, because I could get a new purse out of that. Okay, y'all, have you ever heard of lock-in? I know everybody in here that has been from Chattanooga has probably been raised in church. Okay, I don't know who that little darling, sweet fool was that came up with the lock-in. Some probably little woman in a committee meeting. And she probably said, oh gosh, y'all, let's come up with something for all the hormonal teenagers. Let's gather them up and put them in the church building and lock the door. and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant.